Hello everybody, buddy, B-O-D-Y, B-U-D-D-Y, buddy. Welcome back to another lecture of English, another poem, 3.1 Night of Scorpion. Now what exactly is a scorpion? You might have seen it. Those who will not understand, let me explain to you in Hindi. बिच्छू होता है, बिच्छू. That particular creature is called as scorpion. Night of Scorpion. It was the night of Scorpion. Now before I come to the poem, I have a habit of explaining the poem orally first, then reading the poem. This time the poem is a bit long, so I might read it a bit fast, but the poem is in a very easy language. So let me explain to you what is there in this particular poem, the Night of the Scorpion. The Night of Scorpion not there, Night of the Scorpion. It is an autobiographical poem. It is written by the poet in the first person. He is writing his own story of one night. That particular night it was raining very heavily for the past 10 hours. For the past 10 hours it was raining and raining and raining. And even the creatures, the insects, maybe they got fed up of the rain, and one scorpion called Bichu, one scorpion crept into the house of the poet and hid under a rice sack, bag of rice, chawal ki goni, something of that sort. It was hiding there. Maybe the poet's mother, that time the poet was small, he is writing at his adult age, he is writing about what happened in his younger age. Maybe the mother had some work near the rice sack and she came there. Maybe should she put her leg on the scorpion or not, or it was very near the scorpion. The scorpion bit her. It has a very big, this type of fangs. The scorpion bit her, and animals also know one thing, that I have done something wrong, and after biting he quietly slid away out of the house, even though it was raining. To help himself save from the rain, he came into the house, hid under this sack, but once he bit the poet's mother, he ran away outside in the rain. And once the scorpion bit the poet's mother, there was all commotion. First of all, the poet's mother was groaning with pain. She was in a very huge discomfort. After all, scorpions are also poisonous. The village peasants came running along with the candles. It was a rural area. You have a book. Which stanza shows that the area was rural? Peasants, farmers came running along with candles, lit candles and lanterns. The poet was a small child. Those candles and lanterns were making the shadows of these peasants on the wall. That shadows were apparently to the poet that they were big scorpions. Such afraid the poet was. that he was finding that shadows as to be huge scorpions, the shadows of the peasants, under candlelight and lantern light. You know, when light goes off, you put on a candle and you put your hand, there will be a huge shadow of the hand. They were muttering, they were buzzing the chant of God. The peasants were taking the name of the God. They were clicking their tongues. Such a bad thing happened. They were praying to God, they were clicking their tongue, and they started searching for the scorpion. They started searching for the scorpion. They said that scorpion should not move. Villagers have some old beliefs. The scorpion should not move. The more he will move, the more poison will move in the body of the poet's mother. The scorpion should sit at one place. That was the belief of the peasants. They said that maybe the scorpion's bite might wipe away all the sins that the poet's mother might have committed during this life. The scorpion's bite might give her some good deeds in the life that she will be living after death. All evils, all sin will be washed out during this life. She will get a good life in the next time. In the next life, people believe in life after death. They also said that this bite might balance out the evils that poet's mother might have done by the good deeds that the poet's mother might have done. Means the balance of evil deeds will go down and the balance of good deeds will come up. More people started coming up, more neighbors started coming up, bringing more candles, more lanterns. Along with them, more insects came into the house. The mother was groaning, lying on the floor. Everybody sat beside her. What they were expecting? She will die. The poet's father, a rationalist father, a skeptic father who believed in knowledge, who did not believe in all this disbelief, he also started all sorts of method of curses or blessings. When nothing worked, he took out a paraffin, a sort of a wax, for which we can make candle, applied it on the foot of the poet's mother and lit a matchstick on it. Means that wound was burnt, that wound was being burnt. Maybe that burning that wound will make the poison disappear. Even a sadhu was called, even a big priest was called to chant mantras to take out the evil of the scorpion. The whole night, the peasants came, clicking their tongue, trying to find out the scorpion. All sort of talks were there of good deeds, of evil deeds, of next life. More people come, the house got crowded. Father was doing something else, trying to burn the wound. Some priest or sadhu were called to chant mantras so that the bite of the scorpion withered down, will get okay very soon. Such was the commotion that happened in the house just because of one bite of scorpion. But what happened next? It took a very, very long time, 20 hours. After 20 hours, the poison gradually decreased the mother started feeling okay after 20 hours. What did mother do once she got okay? Did she think, thank God, thank God I am okay now? Was she happy that she has not died, she is alive? What she said? She thanked God. She thanked God that the scorpion chose to bite her. Scorpion chose to bite her and leave her children alone. She was so in love with her children that she thanked God that scorpion did not bite her children but bit her instead. The motherly love is shown in the last line of this poem. Maybe the poet was impressed with this last line of her mother, so he remembered it, and when he grew up, he wrote this particular autobiography of that one night. The poem is a free verse written in a story form, written in an autobiographical form. Whatever is there in the poem I have explained to you properly. I am going to read the poem. I am going to explain to you the meanings of difficult words. In between, I will try to explain to you some figures of speech. And in the initial stages, we will try to see something introduction about the poet. Okay? So, poet is Nissim Ezekiel. Such names, peculiar types of name, you see many times in Russia or in Israel, such countries you find such names. So Nissim Ezekiel was an Indian. He was born in India. Jewish poet. Jewish is a type of a religion close to Christianity. You don't find Jew people here. Israel country is full of Jewish people. He was a poet, actor, writer of plays, editor of plays, and art critic. Whenever something is being done, you try to find minor faults in that. They are called art critics. He was a foundational figure in post-colonial area after independence. After independence, India's literary history, writing history, specifically for Indian writings of a wider range. In this poem, the poet depicts the selfless love of a mother who is stung by a scorpion. In this poem, he is trying to show the struggle of his mother between life and death after the stung of the scorpion, the behavior of the villagers, the behavior of the father. Okay, so that is there in this particular poem. Okay, we'll go through the poem. The poem is in a very easy language. Only the sentences that are used are in poetic form. I remember the night my mother was stung by a scorpion. Self-explanatory. I remember the night my mother was stung by a scorpion. 10 hours of steady rain. 10 hours of steady rain had driven him. 10 hours of steady rain had driven home that particular scorpion into my house. Forced that scorpion to enter into my house. 10 घंटे की बारिश ने मजबूर कर दिया उस स्कॉर्पियन को मेरे घर में घुसने के लिए. 10 hours of steady rain had driven the scorpion to crawl or All insects are crawling beneath a sack of rice. Beneath a sack of rice. Quite easy language. No mass explanation needed here. Parting with his poison. Parting with his poison. I have something in my hand. I have a book, I have a pen. I give it to somebody and go away. Then I am parting with my pen. I am leaving my pen with that particular person and moving away. The scorpion's face or mouth was filled of poison. Once that scorpion bit the poet's mother, that particular poison went into mother's body. The scorpion parted with that poison. Parting with his poison. छोड़ दिया poison मदर के बॉडी में. Flash of diabolic tail. Flash of diabolic tail. Evil tail. Diabolic, having the qualities of devil or wickedness. Having the qualities of devil. So once the scorpion is deadly, he is biting someone, he is injecting poison, so that has been compared as a devil. That has been compared as a devil. Diabolic tail in the dark room. It is a village. Your textbook has a question, show that the poem is written in a rural area. It is a dark room, there is no electricity. Parting with his poison, flash of diabolic tail in the dark room, he reached the rain again. Why he entered? Because it was raining heavily. But now once he stung the mother, once he passed on the poison in the mother's body, with wickedness, with evilness, he ran away outside, risking the rain again. He ran away outside, risking the rain again. He entered because he wanted to save himself from the rain. But he went back now, understood that I have committed some mistake and these people are going to kill me, so rain is better for me. He went outside. Parting with his poison. Parting with his poison. A figure of speech, alliteration is there here. Parting with his poison, the sound it is repeated. The second line, for diabolic tail in the dark room. Diabolic tail in the dark room. Diabolic tail in the dark room. The word D is repeated, the sound D is repeated. Again there is alliteration there. Here is the rain again. Bhag gaya, went outside. Rain is better than to be in these human beings. These human beings are going to kill me now. The peasants, farmers, came like swarm of flies. The peasants came like swarm of flies. झुंड बना के आए, मक्खियों के झुंड के जैसा. They came running at their house. The peasants came like swarm of flies. Peasants are compared directly like a swarm of flies. So a figure of speech simile is applicable here. The peasants came like a swarm of flies and buzzed the name of God 100 times. As I explained to you, they were taking the name of God. They were chanting the name of God. Oh, save him, save him. They were praying. Okay. Now here again a word is used, buzzed. A sound is used for that. And when for a sound some word is used, some phrase is used, so you get another figure of speech, that is onomatopoeia. That is onomatopoeia. Poem is a big one. I will explain this figures of speech some other day, but your teachers might have explained to you in 9th standard. Okay, though this particular burst is used when a sound is used for something, okay, then that particular figure of speech is onomatopoeia. The first line, the peasant came like swarm of flies. The peasant has been compared as swarm of flies. So you have the figure of speech of simile. And buzzed the name of God 100 times. Buzzed has been used because they were chanting, they were muttering something, they were taking the name of God. Collectively, it has been given the term buzzed. Buzzed. So here the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. To paralyze the evil one. Paralyze, to calm it down, to stop an activity. Your hand is working, suddenly your hand stops to work, means your hand is paralyzed, the activity has been stopped, it is at still. The evil one, who is the evil one? The scorpion. To paralyze the evil one, the scorpion is directly compared as an evil person. There is no like, there is no us here. Directly it has been said that he is an evil. So the figure of speech here is metaphor. People do confuse themselves between metaphor and simile. In simile, your textbook says that when you are comparing somebody with the words like or as, then you will say that it is a simile. But if you are not using like or as, you are directly saying something, somebody has fought very bravely, so we say that you fought like a lion. You fought like a lion. We say that it is a simile. He is being compared as a lion, like a lion. But to make it short, oh, you are a lion. I said, you are a lion. The same sentence is there. The same sentence has been shortened. Directly we said that he is a lion. So that time, the figure of speech that comes is metaphor. So, the peasants came like swarm of flies and buzzed the name of God 100 times to paralyze the evil one, to stop the activity of the evil one. He stays at one place. He dies that scorpion. Whatever is, they were praying about that scorpion. Why his activity should not go on, why he should not move away, why he should not run away. Next line. With candles and with lanterns. It is a village. There is no light. So, in order to create light, they are coming with candles. In order to create light, they are coming with lanterns. Candle, an open space. Lantern with a glass shield. With candles and with lanterns throwing giant scorpion shadows. There were shadows of these peasants on the wall. And the author was finding these shadows. He was so afraid that the author was finding the shadows of this peasant as huge scorpions on the wall. As huge scorpions on the wall. With candles and with lanterns throwing giant scorpion shadows on the mud-baked wall. This also shows that it is a village. No concrete, no bricks, no mortar. The walls are mud-baked. मिट्टी की बनी है दीवारें. Okay? On the mud-baked walls, they searched for him. They started searching the scorpion. He was not found. The full line. They searched for him. He was not found. Searched and found. Opposite ideas are expressed. In my last lecture, I had explained to you, when opposite ideas are expressed, the figure of speech that is applicable in that particular sentence is antithesis. So this particular line, the figure of speech is antithesis. They searched for him. He was not found. Searched, not found. They clicked their tongue. They clicked their tongue. Clicked. A corrective sound is given a tone. Already I explained to you, they buzzed. Here they clicked their tongue. Clicked. Clicked. Onomatopoeia. They clicked their tongues. With every movement, what they said, with every movement the scorpion made, his poison moved in mother's blood, they said. The more scorpion is moving here and there, the more poison he will move in the blood of the mother. Old fashioned thinking, village thinking. Okay? So, with every movement that scorpion made, his poison moved in mother's blood, they said. Explanation clear? What should happen? He should not move. He is moving. Poison is going to move in the mother's blood. So what should be done? May he sit still. They said. That scorpion should be at one place only. That scorpion should be at one place only, so that the poison will be at one place only in the mother's blood. May he sit still. Who sits still? The scorpion. The scorpion should be static at one place. Okay? May he sit still, they said. Now, previous birth, coming life, everything has been explained in this particular 4 lines, which I explained to you before that. May the sins of your previous birth be burned away tonight. Scorpion has bit you. He has injected poison. So now what? May the sins of previous birth, whatever wrongdoings you had committed in your previous birth, be burned away tonight. Everything let it be finished. Everything let it be finished. Your sins that were committed in the previous birth, they said, may your sufferings, the suffering which you are suffering, the pain that you are suffering, may your suffering decrease the misfortunes of your next birth. पुराने when you previous birth में जो भी commitment, जो भी गलतियां किया होगे, let that be burnt away tonight. Let us forget that tonight, and whatever you are suffering today, decrease the misfortune in your next birth. एक तो करंट बर्थ चालू है, पिछली जिंदगी की भी बात चालू है, आने वाली जिंदगी की बात चालू है, just because of one bite of the scorpion. They said many times, they said, who is saying this? The villagers, the peasants are saying that whatever happened, whatever evil you did in your last birth, let it die away, let it get burned. Whatever suffering you are doing it today, whatever suffering you are today, let that misfortune be not carried to the next birth. Who are saying? The peasants are saying. They mean the peasants. May the sum of all evil, may the sum of all evil, people do two things. People do evil things, people do good things. People do evil things, wrong things, people do good things. So, don't know what is the balance between evil and good things, but this bite of scorpion may bring down all your evil things down and increase your good things. Increase your good things. Your evil things and your good things might be equal, but let this bite may decrease your bad things and increase your good things. The balance of good things may increase. Balance of good things may increase. May the sum of all evil, जितने गलत काम किए जिंदगी में, टोटल गलत काम जो हुआ जिंदगी में, may the sum of all evil balanced in this unreal world against the sum of good. जितने अच्छे काम किए, टोटल जितने अच्छे काम किए, उनका बैलेंस, evil का बैलेंस डिमिनिश हो जावे, कम हो जावे. The balance of evil get diminished by your pain. The balance of evil, the sum total of evil may come down. The balance of sum total of good deeds may go up because of this particular pain. These all are being said by peasants. They are talking as if the poet's mother is going to pass away. Now, here is one line, may he sit still, they said. Sit still, said. The word S is repeated again and again, so there is a figure of speech of alliteration. Then here, sum of all evil and sum of good. Evil, good. Opposite ideas are expressed in the same sentences, so the three lines together constitute a figure of speech called antithesis. May the sum of all evil balanced in this unreal world against the sum of good become diminished by your pain. Sum of all evil, sum of good. Two opposite ideas are expressed here. Therefore, the figure of speech applicable in this particular sentence will be antithesis. May the poison purify your flesh. The body is made up of flesh, of desire. May the poison purify your flesh of desire and your spirit of ambition, they said, and they sat around on the floor with my mother in the center, the piece of understanding on each face. They are continuing to say many things. May the poison purify your flesh. Before I proceed, may the poison purify. Poison purify. Poison purify. The sound P is repeated, so again and figures of speech alliteration is applicable here. May the poison purify your flesh of desire. Whatever desire you might be having, wrong desire, good, bad desire, good desire, may it be purified. Your spirit of ambition, whatever you wanted to do in life, whatever you wanted to have a successful thing in life, all that be accomplished, all that be completed, they said. Everything they are trying to say. They are giving suggestions. They are speaking about her previous life. They are speaking about her next life. They are speaking about her unreal life, where she will be going to God. They are speaking about her ambition. They are speaking about her desire. This is the night they got to gossip, and they are taking out everything in front of this poor old lady. And then the lady is lying down and everybody is sitting around her. What are they waiting for? They said, we are speaking about the peasants, and they sat around on the floor with mother in the center, the piece of understanding on each face. Everybody gave their suggestion. Everybody buzzed. Everybody talked. Now everybody is sitting calmly. Maybe waiting for some climax. बोल के हो गया. We now just looking at the poet's wife, expecting some expectation or expecting some unexpectation. तो शांति से घेर के बैठ गए पोएट की वाइफ को, एंड द पोएट्स वाइफ वाज लाइंग इन बिटवीन. More people started gathering. Only peasants came. Now neighbors also started coming. Word of the mouth went out. Oh, that particular lady has been stung by a scorpion. Everybody started coming running. When people are coming, they are bringing lights with them. More candle, more lanterns, more neighbors. More insects. Door is open. Outside there is raining. People are entering. So insects are also crawling inside. More candles, more lanterns, more neighbors, more insects. The word more is repeated again and again. So this here particularly word is repeated. So the figure of speech applicable here is repetition. More candles, more lanterns, more neighbors, more insects, and endless rain. Rain which is never going to stop. Rain which is continuously falling down. Endless rain. Rain which is not going to end. My mother twisted through and through, groaning on the mat. The mother was turning round and round. Her body was in pain. She was groaning, taking out a mournful sound, conveying to the people that I am in pain, I am in grief, please do something for me. The mother twisted through and through, groaning on a mat. Whatever her sound was there, whatever sound she was taking out, that has been given one term, that is groaning. So this is a third example of onomatopoeia. One was buzzing. It should be etched in your mind. In this particular poem, there are 3 onomatopoeia. Buzzing, click their tongue, and now groaning on a mat. You should not forget it. The mother twisted through and through, groaning on a mat. My father. Now one more person. Peasants were in the picture. The poet himself was in the picture. Peasants were giving advices. The poet, who was a child, he was finding the shadows of this peasant as scorpions on the muddy wall. More people, neighbors came in. Now father was also trying something. Father was a educated person, knowledgeable person. He did not believe in all these mindless things. He believed in knowledge. He was a rationalist, a skeptic who believed in real things. What is rationalist? A person who believes in reason and knowledge. Then opinion and belief. Then just giving an opinion or believing something. He said that he wanted to do something for his wife. Just giving suggestions or just doing something different will not do. Though he tried many things, what did he try? Tried every curse and blessing. Prayed to God, cursed the people. दुनिया को सुना दिया कुछ मटरिंग करके, भगवान से मांग लिया बहुत कुछ. So, trying every curse and blessings. Curse and blessings. Two opposite ideas are expressed here. Two opposite ideas, that is antithesis. Do not forget it. So there is again here, trying every curse and blessings. is an antithesis statement according to figures of speech. He tried many things. He tried medicine. All four words that are used here are terms for medicine. He tried powder. He tried mixture. He tried herbs. He tried hybrids, mixture of two medicines. We speak hybrid in terms of scientific terms when we try to grow a plant. We try to grow a plant by combining two different types of plants. That is hybrid in terms of scientific. But here combination of two medicines. So my father, the poet's father, who was a skeptic, who was a rationalist, he tried everything from curse to blessings and from powder to mixture to herb and hybrid. Herb and hybrid, the word her is used here. The figure of speech applicable here is alliteration. Figure of speech here applicable is alliteration. He even poured a little paraffin, poured paraffin. The word po is used here, p is used here. So again this sentence has an alliteration here. He even poured a little paraffin. Paraffin, a white flammable soft wax like thing is there that burns when lit. Okay, so that he applied on the wound where the scorpion had stung, and then lit a match. He even poured a little paraffin. उस चोट की जगह पे थोड़ा सा पैराफिन डाल के उसमें आग लगा दिया. Maybe he was trying to burn that particular poison. He even poured a little paraffin upon the bitten toe, the place where the scorpion had bitten, and put a match to it. उसको आग लगा दिए. Put a match to it, matchstick से it was lit. And I was a small child. I just could see. I watched the flame feeding on my mother. Small burning sensation might have going on, but this was a huge thing for the poet who was a child. Flame feeding. The flame was eating up my mother. Two parts here. Flame feeding, the word for is the sound F is repeated here. So there is a figures of speech of alliteration, and then the flame has been personified as if eating the mother. Flame feeding. The flame has been personified. So your figure of speech, another figure of speech here is applicable here. That is personification. I watched the flame feeding on my mother. Then some sadhu was also brought. One more character was brought inside the house. The whole night, just because of one scorpion. I watched the holy man perform his rituals to tame the poison with incantation, reading some mantras to tame the poison को ठंडा करने के लिए, to make the poison less dangerous. So a sadhu was also called. He was doing his rituals, whatever his rituals might be, creating smoke screen, using his whatever magic wand, reciting mantras, incantation, the chanting of words claim to have magical powers. The chanting of words claiming to have magical powers. Words which are having magical powers. So that sadhu was doing his rituals. He was trying to calm the poison with chanting of words. Everything happened. The peasants came, the neighbors came, father tried something, the sadhu tried something, I was also sitting there, I mean the poet, and finally, it took very, very long time. After 20 hours, it lost its sting. The place where the scorpion had stung, that particular wound calmed down, and the mother got okay. She got fresh. Her pain decreased. Her pain came down. Maybe she was lying down, she got up and sat down. After 20 hours, everything was okay. Fine, this was a complete story. But a climax comes in the last 3 lines of this particular poem. What is the climax? My mother only said. People were there to say many things. The peasant was there, the farmer was there, the sadhu was there, the father was there, myself was there. But when mother got treated, when the sting was lost, the sting got okay, my mother only said, thank God the scorpion picked on me. Thank you God, the scorpion stung me. I was the person who was present there when the scorpion stung and spared my children. And my children were spared. Thank God that the scorpion did not find my children in the way. They were not stung. I am very, very happy, God, that my children were spared with this ordeal and the scorpion chose me to use his poison on me. So these 3 lines shows the motherly love towards that poet. Children, they say, maybe he had some brothers and sisters which he remembered from his childhood days, and when he grew up, he wrote this free verse poem in an autobiographical manner. Okay? So I completed this poem. I explained to you figures of speech also in this. Just go through it. Many of the things have been answered. I was very clear in explaining the poem. So you can solve your exercise, solve your correct alternatives in the textbook also very, very easily if you go through the video 2-3 times. Fine. Thank you very much.